Hello fellow teachers, and welcome to a short video focusing on learning French emotion vocabulary. In this video, we will give you a sample activity to use with your A2 French second language students. So let's get started. Before we present our activity, let's start by introducing the pedagogy behind it. Our activity is built for and built from a plurilingual pedagogy, meaning we acknowledge and incorporate translanguaging in the classroom, utilizing the classroom's collective language repertoire. Additionally, by using a plurilingual pedagogy, we are recognizing and seeking to foster the multifaceted uses of language. Specifically for this task, the awareness of using different and/or multiple languages to express emotions. Our rationale behind the design of this plurilingual task is that it allows for students' expression of their multiple identities. It also acknowledges the fluidity of their languages and cultural practices, which are not fixed but transform depending on the particular situations and contexts. As stated before, this task is created for A2 French second language learners, but can easily be transferred to other oral languages. Our specific context is a Montreal University FSL course comprised of Canadian, international, and exchange students. If your teaching context and/or language is different, please feel free to adapt the task in any way and share it with us. The task objective is to promote the creative use and retrieval of 10 previously learned adjectives that express emotion in French through the creation of a collective, plurilingual, and pluricultural collage. During this task, students will collaboratively construct and discuss their plurilingual and pluricultural identities through the following steps. 1. Acknowledge their collective linguistic repertoire. 2. Brainstorm with fellow students in their L1 or any other desired language. 3. Use the target vocabulary in different contexts. 4. Illustrate their answers through artistic means. And finally, report back in the target language, sharing memories and experiences. In order to root our task in linguistic theory, we have included 2 quotations. The first demonstrates the value of brainstorming ideas and connecting emotion vocabulary to their experiences and identities. The second shows how artistry can facilitate students in accessing and honoring their complex identities and the importance of expressing those identities to themselves and others. In order to implement this task, your students will need a few old magazines, newspapers, or picture books, add some cardboard or poster board, glue, markers, and a willingness to explore, and you've got yourself an activity. A helpful tip for you to do before the task starts is ask your students to bring their own old magazines or newspapers or pictures that can be cut up and recycled. This will help decrease the burden placed on you, the teacher, to bring in all the supplies. Now let's discuss the steps. You will ask your students to form teams of 3 or 4. If your class is smaller, don't fret. You can still use this task, but as you put them into pairs, try hard to separate the students by language. You will give 1 cardboard poster per team with a large circle drawn in the middle, and you'll ask them to list all the languages they have in their collective repertoires in that circle. It is important for you to remind your students that any knowledge they have of any language is equally important and therefore should be added in the circle. Next, take this opportunity to review the 10 target emotion adjectives with your students and write them on the board. Next, write on the board the following prompts that you want your students to use. As you can see from our example, we included je suis blank, en blank, and nous sommes blank, en blank. Additionally, we included sample sentences to help the students move beyond the prompt when discussing with their classmates. Then, you will ask your students to not only use the prompts and vocabulary listed to write on the cardboard what emotions they express with each language, either collectively or independently, but also to use the magazines, newspapers, and picture books to illustrate those emotions by cutting out images and gluing them to the respective prompt. Remember, your students are not limited to the 10 adjectives that are on the board. Encourage your students to discuss in any language they have listed in the circle, and also to explore additional vocabulary through dictionaries, translation, and their peers. Finally, once the collages are complete, each group will present their poster to the class in the target language. In summary, this task uses translanguaging, artistry, and emotion vocabulary. It is a fun and relatively easy task for your students to not only explore the nuances in their multiple language identities, but to share them with others.